Welcome to everybody. Now I am to discuss about the amniocentesis. Possibly you know the amniocentesis comes from the word amniotic fluid, the collection and analysis of amniotic fluid from the mother's womb for different diagnosis and treatment. That procedure is called simply the amniocentesis. Now, the classical definition. What is amniocentesis? It is the invasive procedure in early and late pregnancy. Now, what do we mean by invasive procedure or non-invasive procedure? Invasive procedure means by inserting a needle or other devices when you have to collect the fluid, blood or tissues for the estimation, treatment and diagnosis. That is called the invasive procedure. Now, a certain amount of amniotic fluid is removed by deliberate puncture of the amniotic sac that surrounds the developing fetus. Here you find the figure. This is the amniotic cavity filled by amniotic fluid. Here is the embryo. This is the mother womb. This is the placenta. Now, after collecting the amniotic fluid, different cells within the fluid are examined in the lab for different diagnosis and treatment protocols. Now, where and when such procedure is followed? Exactly for two purposes. One is the diagnostic purpose, another is the therapeutic purpose. Now, what is the diagnostic purpose? The diagnostic purpose is followed at two stages. One is at the early months. What is meant by early months? Around 15 to 20 weeks of gestation. At that early months, the diagnosis for the estimation of chromosomal or genetic diseases. What type of chromosomal and genetic diseases? Exactly, you know the different types of chromosomal anomalies in the fetus and babies during the birth or after birth also. The chromosomal anomalies are different types of trisomies like 21 trisomy, Down syndrome, 18 trisomy, Klinefelter syndromes. Such and such different types of chromosomal anomalies. You know, such type of chromosomal anomalies can be determined by this process. Another disease, the sex-linked diseases. You know the different types of sex-linked diseases, the Y chromosomal, the X chromosomal and of both, you know. The another type, that is the karyotyping. You know the karyotyping is the analysis of chromosomal structure. It is also done for the forensic studies also. Another, the inborn errors of metabolism. Different types of inborn errors, you know, exactly the protein or amino acid metabolic errors, carbohydrate metabolic errors, lipid metabolic errors, which are exactly the gene dependent or genetically defective. Particularly in case of different types of autosomic diagnosis, the amniocentesis is the best procedure to help for the diagnosis. The another type, that is the neural tube defect. You know the spina bifida. Spina bifida is the very major neural tube defect which can also be diagnosis by the amniocentesis procedure. Now, after later months, after second trimester of pregnancy or at third trimester of pregnancy, at that time, the amniocentesis helps for the diagnosis of fetal maturity, degree of fetal hemolysis of Rh isoimmunization, and fetal distress. Now, what is about fetal maturity? Exactly the fetal maturity regarding size, weight, shape, and different organogenesis. If there is any defect, that can be diagnosed by this process. In another way, fetal hemolysis, Rh isoimmunization. You know the pathological term, that is the erythroblastosis fetalis. Sometimes the Rh factor is very important for this disease. So, determination of Rh from the fetus is very important for hemolysis. So, it can be determined by this process also. Another, that is the fetal distress. Fetal distress, different types of fetal distresses are there, like the pressure distress, oxidative distress, respiratory distress. Such different types of distress are measured or diagnosed by this process. Now, the amniocentesis also help for the therapeutic purposes. Now, what are such different fields of therapeutic uses? One is induction of labor by instillation of chemicals. What does it mean? During the labor, during the birth phase, at the onset of time of childbirth, if there is need of inserting or administering of different types of chemicals, hormones, drugs, etc., that can be introduced by this process also inside the amniotic fluid, which can induce the labor pain. Another, the decompression in a case of polyhydramnios. Now, what is decompression in case of polyhydramnios? If the amniotic fluid pressure be increased, that may cause different types of fetal distress, like the immovability of the fetus, the respiratory problem, such and such different types of anomalies may be expressed. Another, the amniofusion in case of oligohydramnios. What does it mean? Oligohydramnios means if the amniotic pressure be very low than the normal pressure, that may lead to different types of defects, like the respiratory problem, development in the hind legs, development in the brain, such and such different types of defects may be noticed. The another, intrauterine transfusion in severe fetal anemia, that is Rh isoimmunization. Sometimes if the Rh be positive and negative in respect to mother and fetus, you know the erythroblastosis fetalis. For this treatment, the amniocentesis is the best procedure for the amelioration of such erythroblastosis fetalis. Now, come to the procedure. The protocol followed here, very simple procedure. First, you see the figure here, that is the ultrasound transducer. Here is the amniotic fluid collected by the syringe. It is the uterus, that is the fetus. Here you see the ultrastructure, that is the skin and its different layer, the abdominal wall, uterine wall, and the amniotic sac. Follow the protocol. First, empty the bladder. Possibly you know, during ultrasonographic examination of any patient, the patient must be emptying of bladder, because the ultrasound can pass directly to the fetus and through the amniotic fluid. If the bladder and stool be filled in the abdomen, that may hamper the effect of ultrasound transducer. So, the empty of bladder is very essential, just at the initial step of this procedure. Now the patient preparation. The patient in the dorsal position must be kept in. After that, dressing, draping and asepsis of abdominal wall for preventing of infections, because due to invasion of needle there may be the chance of infection. So the mother must be dressed and draped and must be aseptic. After that, site is infiltrated with local anesthetic. The local anesthetic is the lignocaine. Lignocaine is the chemical agent which causes local anesthesia. During the inserting of needle, the pain development may interrupt the baby and also of mother, so the local anesthesia is needed. After that, the needle of 20 to 22 gauge needle. What does it mean? This is exactly the diameter of the needle. Possibly you know the 20 number needle, 22 number needle, 18 number, 12 number, such and such different numbers of needles are used in different cases. Here the 20 to 22 gauge needle is suitable for collecting the amniotic fluid. It is inserted in abdominal cavity under real-time sonographic control. Now, what is about the real-time sonographic control? Sonography, ultrasonography, you know the common principle for the study of internal structure. So the ultrasound transducer studies the position of the embryo, at what position the leg is, at what position the head is, and the needle where it should be inserted. Exactly, the needle should be inserted where the space is very much more. If you insert here, that may rupture the baby. If you insert here, that may rupture the head of the baby. So exactly in this figure, that is the suitable space for collecting the amniotic fluid. So the ultrasonography transducer helps for the detecting the position of the embryo, size of the embryo, such and such. Now, after inserting the needle, the operator must collect 30 ml of amniotic fluid for the diagnostic purposes. After that, collecting of amniotic fluid, the stylet is withdrawn and 1 to 2 ml fluid is discarded. Commonly, you know, the sample collecting from any patient, the initial drop must be discarded, because at the first drop there are the different types of tissues and other fluids may be included here. So the 1 to 2 ml of fluid must be discarded. After that, the sample is sent for the laboratory for the diagnostic purposes, like the biochemical analysis, like the cell culture, like the cell studies, such and such different types of studies may be done in the laboratory. Now, what precautions should be taken for this purpose? The different types of precautions must be taken. Number one, the proper sonographic localization is very much essential for this diagnosis and for collecting of amniotic fluid. In this figure, if you see, here is the best position, because here is the greater space of amniotic fluid. It may not hamper the baby. Number two, first 1 to 2 drop of 1 to 2 ml of fluid is discarded as it contains maternal cells, as I explained earlier. Another, the prophylactic administration of anti-DIG in Rh negative mother. What does it mean? This is very important. If during the insertion of needle that may rupture the abdominal cavity and may cause bleeding. Due to bleeding, the blood may come into the amniotic fluid. If the mother and the baby be the reverse RH, that may lead the erythroblastosis fetalis, you know from your earlier concept. So to nullify the RH factor, the anti-DIG is administered. After that, now the another point, the fetal cardiac activity is checked before and after the procedure. What is the importance of this precaution? The fetal cardiac activity is very much important because if there is any stress exerted on the fetus, that may be reflected through the cardiac activity. So it is very important to check after and before the amniotic fluid collection. Now, the another point, patient is asked to report for any uterine cramp or vaginal bleeding or leakage of liquor after the procedure. So these precautions should be followed during amniocentesis. Now, during amniocentesis, different types of hazards may occur. That different types of hazards may occur at two sides, one at the maternal side, another at the fetal side. At the maternal side, number one, the infection, chance of infection. Number two, the hemorrhage, chance of hemorrhage due to improper inserting of the needle that may cause the placental hemorrhage, may cause the uterine hemorrhage. Another, the PROM, the premature rupture of membrane. Sometimes it may lead to the premature delivery of the baby due to rupturing of membrane. Another, the premature labor. Premature delivery of the baby may also occur due to such stress and stimulation. Another, the maternal isoimmunization in Rh negative cases. The Rh negative cases regarding the Rh factor and its adverse effect, as I explained earlier. Now the fetal hazards. What are the fetal hazards? Number one, the fetal loss. Sometimes the abortion may occur. Commonly, the chance of fetal loss is very rare if the expert is very skillful. But it has been statistically shown that about 400 cases, one may be aborted. The another hazard, the trauma. Another hazard, the feto-maternal hemorrhage, as I explained. Another, the oligohydramnios. Oligohydramnios means due to leakage of amniotic fluid, the intrauterine amniotic pressure may be reduced than normal, which may lead to respiratory problem, the fetal lung collapsing, hypoplasia, respiratory distress, telephus. Telephus means the defect in development of leg and its bones. The amnionitis, there may be the chance of infection in the amniotic cavity. So, during this process, one should mind about the different types of hazards may occur during this procedure. Thank you all.